Hello indie game fans, here are the updates and releases I missed in May, with a notable number of games releasing out of early access. But first, let's begin with Sonar Shock, a first-person horror dungeon crawler that is not quite a first-person shooter and is inspired by 90s immersive sims and the fall of the Soviet Union for some reason, looking weird and unique and so indie games. I come as the bearer of some bittersweet news, since Wildermyth Omenroad is the final paid DLC to an excellent myth-making turn-based tactical RPG, adding a new roguelite mode for hopefully infinite replayability as compared to the bespoke D&D style campaigns of the original game. And that is for a reason, since this developer unfortunately is going into hibernation and letting go of people. However, it might be because the game did well enough for the founders to retire, since it did sell a lot of copies, so good news, bad news on this one, and I wish all the developers of this game well. This video is brought to you by Crestfallen Medieval Survival, a medieval fantasy action crafting RPG in which you are placing your claim on land, building up your keep and castle on it, and then fending off oncoming invaders in the form of enemy bandits, thieves, demons, monsters, and even other players. 2024 has been the year of the open world survival crafting game, with this game having customization options as you equip your character with weapons and equipment through an extensive crafting system including the Forge, Anvil, Alchemy Lab, Leatherworks and more, having both melee and ranged combat options as well as magic. There is modular castle construction, so you can customize and build your stronghold, along with farming and a trading system, not to mention the ability to go out to adventure and slay dragons, or even to construct siege weapons to attack other fortifications. This will release in early access on July 1st, with the developer streaming the game during the Steam Next Festival beginning June 10th, so wishlist the game on Steam via the link in the description below. We also had the 1.0 release of RIPOUT, a co-op horror first-person shooter in which you and your friends battle your way through procedurally generated spaceships. The mutants that you fight can reconfigure their body parts and looks very freaky, with your customizable gun pet being one of the more interesting things that I have seen in games. Although the vibe that I got, which is also reflected in Steam reviews, is that this game launch didn't get the player numbers that they wanted, and the developers just cut and ran, checking off the boxes to make it 1.0, but not much more than that. Although again, that might be due to unrealistic expectations of mega hits like Deep Rock Galactic being supported with tons of free content. Another 1.0 release of interest is Corpse Keeper, a self-described action strategy roguelike title in which you lead a party of 3 corpses deeper and deeper into the cathedral in order to slay the demon at the end of it. It is one part survival management game as you equip the corpses and manage their decay level, which is then combined with real-time fighting game action as you battle enemies, being so unique and weird with nothing else quite like this on the market. The third 1.0 release of interest in the role is Thriving City Song, an ancient China-themed city builder that looks gorgeous, although its English language translation leaves much more to be desired. Here's an interesting open-world zombie sandbox survival game named Night of the Dead, which I believe comes to us from a Korean developer and looks to be similar and perhaps equally as janky as games like 7 Days to Die, but overall is well liked enough to be of interest. If you're familiar with indie horror games, you will know who this game is from within the opening seconds of this trailer, since yes, Platform 8 is from the developer of The Exit 8, a self-styled anomaly-finding hidden object horror game in which you travel from one carriage to the next, which look similar but might have an anomaly or something that's different, then having to turn around and so on, with the same unsettling character model from the first game being used here.
Late again, old friend.
The 4X strategy title Northgard continues to chug along with the addition of Garm Clan of the Hounds, adding a new playable faction that favours aggressive play, and while the game released in 2018, when I last checked, there was still a thriving online community playing this game, which I expect are savages at the game at this point, but if you love RTS games and have not tried this, do pick this up.
At that time, Sons of the Boar clan were no healers of nature, just a ruthless pack devouring it. They sought many powers within their cursed rituals, wearing the cold skin of their victims as they became less and less human.
I remember what your clan became. But when Phaedrong died, his godless warriors were nothing but mere beasts scattered across Northgard, with no sense of strategy or craftsmanship. They are gone, Svan.
The few remains of Phaedrong's legacy unleashed and survived Ragnarok. They harnessed its power and ended the gods themselves. I hope my visions prove to be wrong so they never raise their banner again. Who knows what they could be capable of if they ever returned.
Another awesome survival crafting action-adventure game in early access is Lens Island, which just released the Frozen Lands update, which coincides with Act 4, adding to the map of the game to include new frozen mining islands along with a network of underground caves. This of course means a new town, new dungeons, weapons, enemies, resources, and so much more, but this game is already something special and could become one of the greats when all is said and done. A trend that I have seen with regards to sequels to major early access games is the slowdown of the cadence of content updates seen in games like Hades 2, but also in Slime Rancher 2, presumably because they want to make each feel much more significant, and Add to Cart Pronto Mart is just that, adding a new shop with blueprints, gadgets, slime toys, along with conservatory expansion, and while no new areas are added, the next update will add the Grey Labyrinth, which should release in fall this year.